the shot. Fabian Schär.
All right, folks, it's Toon Tactics TV, and we're asking the question straight up. Is it Eddie Howe in or is it Eddie Howe out? And I want to preface today's question, today's situation with whether you're Eddie Howe in or whether you're Eddie Howe out. My assumption is that both both sides of the argument, all we want to see is Newcastle United winning leagues, winning Champions Leagues, and just dominating. So, whatever my answer is to this question is, and if someone's the opposite of that, it doesn't mean that they're bad or they're positive or they're negative or I'm negative or this, that, or the other. You might be right, I might be right, but we both want the same thing. The same thing is for Newcastle, like I said, to dominate the league. So, I'm going to go straight to Steve Wraith's post on X. Steve Wraith, NUFC Matters, guys, need to log in to you need to subscribe. Fantastic channel. I've been watching it for a very long time myself as a Newcastle fan. And so he leaves a very good question, a comment in X that I thought opens up this discussions where we're talking about whether Eddie Howe is in or Eddie Howe is out. So Steve says, the season is over. We will learn a lot more about PIF. Now, do they settle for mid-table and accept mitigating circumstances that have led to it and back Howe in the summer, or do they make their first managerial change and find out if the grass is greener? So his question is even more open and even better than what I was asking, because he's now we're going to find out more about PIF, not just about Eddie Howe. Are they accepting of the circumstances? So I'm going to crack this one open and say I'm Eddie Howe in, and there's 3 reasons as to why I am Eddie Howe in, and I'm not going to give you the consistent arguments, which is around injuries, lack of squad rotation. We overperformed last season. This is the kind of us coming back to where we are. All these things have their own validity and justification. So my reasons are a little bit more different. One of them is a little bit more personal, and so you guys know where I'm coming from when I'm saying Eddie Howe in, and I want to see this process seen through to its complete and natural end. The first one is that, on a personal note, is that where Eddie Howe came from is the bottom in terms of footballing terms. You'd have all heard the story that Eddie Howe took over Bournemouth when it was trying to avoid League Two. It was on minus 17 points, and he came as it came over as a player. He didn't have no managerial experience or anything like that. He was ravaged with his injuries, and he took over this beleaguered squad. And not only did he keep him up, but he got them promoted. He went to Burnley. Didn't work out in Burnley because of personal issues. He came back and he led Bournemouth again to 2 more league promotions, where again he stayed in the Premier League for 5 seasons. Not only those things, footballing wise, he achieved, and this is going to lead to my second point. Not only those things, but as you guys would have heard in my previous episodes, he actually built the club himself with his team, and Eddie Howe coming in as scout and recruitment, taking them from a paper-based to a data-based scouting reports and networks. Him and Tyndall were the scouts. They were the directors. They would drive up. They would into different games and matches, and they would be responsible for hiring. And they would be responsible for hiring the right players, finding the right players and the right gems. And creating, so essentially they had the whole footballing philosophy themselves. They built the club from the ground up. Does that sound familiar to you? Because it does sound to me exactly where Newcastle United are. And so, in terms of the footballing personal experience, that he grinded and got himself from nothing to something himself. And personally, I really like that. I relate to that a lot in my career and in my life. Building myself up from nothing and to doing the things that I'm doing now, which I'm really, really proud of. I'm having, not just in career-wise, but family-wise as well. So there's a personal one, but there's also, I'll do a quick analogy. And I'm Arsenal fans. I'm not dissing Arteta. I'm just giving the comparison. And the comparison, if you imagine Eddie Howe, where he's come from, he's like the working class kid, like many of us are, who did his best in a very bad school and managed to achieve. Arteta, on the other hand, is the kid that went to that private school, had the best mentor, best teacher, personal teacher ever in the guise of Pep Guardiola. And then he went to a next private school in the name of Arsenal, where there's swimming pools, there's trips to the Swiss Alps, and that's where he made his bones as a manager under those really, in my view, really good conditions in comparison. Now, you still got to work, you still got to make it. I'm not saying one environment is better than the other. I'm just saying that I relate to Howe a lot more because of the way he grew up, managerially and career-wise in football. So it's a personal one. So if you guys are like, you don't like them for personal reasons, that is true. And I take that on the chin. The other one, again, goes now to experience, what we talked about, building a club up, building the scouting systems, building the philosophy, building a vision for a club. Eddie Howe has done that with less resources under Bournemouth. These guys, even when they were relegated previous season, they still had the players that Eddie Howe recruited, like in the form of Ake and others, but they were able to sell and put that money in and get themselves back in the Premier League. People have this false narrative that he's not good at transfers. He's fantastic at transfers. Just ask, I think it was I forgot the YouTube the guys from Bournemouth. They did a whole analysis on Howe signings, and they were fantastic. Mainly very, very good. Even the ones that didn't work out, that they class as very, very poor, were not economically damaging to the club. And the ones that were amazing, Aaron Ramsdale, Ake, and others, as you know how they're doing right now, doing really, really well in their careers. The next, so it's personal for me in terms of first reason. The second one is experience, and all that experience that he has, Eddie Howe, in building the club up from the ground. This is where Newcastle are right now. We are being built from the ground up. Yes, we went on minus 17 points and stuff like that, but we have been relegated. We were facing relegation, and we all know what Mike actually left us in absolute dire straits. It takes the vision of Eddie Howe and loyalty to see this project through. Because ask Dan Ashworth, ask Mark Leyland, the data analyst, who left within 18 months, all of them, why they didn't stick around to see the fruits of their labor. Eddie Howe is here, and he's earning that all the time. So, and I know that can change any moment. It's not my argument. What I'm saying is that he's here. He's got the experience. He's got the hustle. I like the way he's grown up managerially through his career. And I think it can only be him at this stage in Newcastle's re-emergence who can lead us to the top. The final one is centered around Newcastle is a club right now in a transitional phase. And if we go up, this is a post that I really like. And this is from Mr. Sean Casey, who many of you guys will know. He's absolutely fantastic. Do see him on the Irish Mags, guys. Log on to the Irish Mags, but also Loaded Mags. But I think there's a recent podcast that he did on Irish Mags. Not only is he, really good on the transfers and recruitment, but he has excellent footballing knowledge. Really, really good footballing knowledge. I can't rate him highly enough. And he's posted this. He's not the only one to post this. So I know there's been a few other folks that posted it. And that's a diagram of what, when it comes to success and on the journey to success, a lot of people think it's just straight arrow up. It's not. It's the second arrow. It's what it looks like. It's ups, downs, it's left, right, but the trajectory is going up. And it describes it as, Eddie Howe enjoy the journey. And we were told this by, I remember we had this Loaded Mag actually, when they talked to a Liverpool fan and podcaster around this, and he said, enjoy the journey to the top. And we had 2 quarter-final finishes. We went to the last in the group of death, as it says here, and we had 10 games to go to get into Europe. We still got a chance. This is it, guys. And Eddie Howe is the man that's going to take us forward. He's going to help us. He's going to lead us through this transition, and we're going to be a dominant cup winning team. But let me know what you guys think. Are you Eddie Howe in or Eddie Howe out? Like, share, and subscribe. Take care. God bless.